5 men have been convicted for running Jetflicks, which is an illegal streaming service that amassed over 10,500 movies and 183,000 TV episodes pirated from major platforms, generating millions in illicit gains before being shut down by the FBI. The U.S. Treasury slapped sanctions on 12 Kaspersky executives following a national security ban of their antivirus software. What are the implications of the U.S. sanctions on Kaspersky's operations and its executives? UnitedHealth has finally confirmed what types of personal and medical information were stolen in the Change Healthcare ransomware attack that exposed up to a third of all Americans' health data, resulting in $872 million in losses and widespread disruptions across the U.S. healthcare system. You're listening to the Daily Decrypt. A federal jury in Las Vegas convicted 5 individuals for operating Jetflicks, a significant illegal streaming service. Jetflicks ran from 2007 to 2019 before being shut down by the FBI. Jetflicks offered over 10,500 movies and 183,000 TV episodes that were pirated from platforms like Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. The service attracted tens of thousands of paid subscribers, providing new episodes often the day after they aired on TV. This operation generated millions of dollars for the people who ran it, mostly from the subscription costs of accessing this platform. There were 5 people in total that were convicted for running this platform, but one of them, named Christopher Dahlman, faces additional charges for money laundering, making his potential sentence up to 48 years in prison. The other 4 face a maximum sentence of 5 years each. So I'm all for sticking it to the man, especially these big media corporations that are gouging us left and right on these subscription services, right? Like Netflix just upped their prices. Amazon Prime just added ads, and we have to pay to get rid of these ads. It's just another example of insane amounts of corporate greed, right? But if you're going to do it, if you're going to illegally download your shows and your content, share it with your friends. You know, go learn a little bit about networking and spin up a Plex server and maybe some identity access management or whatever security practices you'd like to put into that server, right? Like just hardening it. It's a good experience. It's a good learning experience. And that way you're doing something productive and you're not really exposing yourself to too much legal recourse. Like creating a streaming service that you charge money for content that you found for free is just begging for this type of attention. And like I said, I'm all for sticking it to the man, but these media companies aren't the devil. Like they're bad, but it's not really worth going to jail over sharing content for free with the world. That's kind of like your thirst for fame and your thirst for wealth, which kind of in turn makes you the devil, right? Like your corporate greed by charging for illegal content. It's not worth going to jail over. So hats off to these guys for trying something, but this conviction totally makes sense. Speaking of United States legal action, the United States Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control, or OFAC, has sanctioned 12 senior executives at Kaspersky Lab following a ban by the Commerce Department on Kaspersky software and services in the US. And we're starting to see more and more of this, especially with the TikTok ban, how cybersecurity and the prevalence of foreign adversaries in certain countries, as well as maybe malicious intent of foreign governments, is going to play a role in the products that we're allowed to use. And fundamentally, that's a little scary, right? This is the land of the free, but it seems like the United States is really wanting to try to start cracking down on data retention laws, but they're doing it in the United States way, right? Just guns a-blazing, shoot them dead, right? And as opposed to the European Union, who's placing regulations and making companies prove that they're not doing anything crazy with the data. We're just cutting them down, right? That's the way we do it in the United States. So Brian E. Nelson, the Undersecretary of the Treasury for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence, emphasized the U.S. commitment to protecting its cyber domain from malicious threats. And by that, sanctions have targeted 12 of the C-suite and senior level executives, but do not extend to Kaspersky Lab itself or its founder and CEO, Eugene Kaspersky. In addition, starting on July 20th of 2024, Kaspersky will be prohibited from offering its software and services in the United States, which is great that the United States is trying to protect security, but that is a very short amount of time to give an entire country to find a new antivirus or endpoint security software system. Because after this time, Kaspersky will not be allowed to send patches or updates or security updates to its endpoints, which will eventually leave them vulnerable to attack. And as I'm saying this out loud, I'm wondering if the United States has considered that Russia will know exactly which endpoints are vulnerable to exactly which types of attacks. And Kaspersky is pretty upset about this ban, as is the country of Russia. And the combination of that upsetness, as well as vulnerable antivirus software, could be a disastrous combination. I hope not, but if you're listening to this and you use Kaspersky or your company uses Kaspersky, this should now be one of your top priorities to find a new security system. And finally, UnitedHealth has confirmed the types of medical and patient data stolen in the Change Healthcare ransomware attack. The affected data includes health insurance details, medical records, billing information, and personal identifiers like social security numbers. So, TLDR, everything. Billing information can include addresses, can include credit card numbers. You name it, it's in this breach, all right? The UnitedHealth CEO has revealed that approximately 1/3 of all Americans might be impacted by this. And we've all heard about this attack, how it's caused significant delays amongst healthcare systems across the country, to include delays in treatment or even issues with billing, and especially affecting pharmacies' ability to process claims. And what really sucks about this attack is that multi-factor authentication could have prevented the whole thing. So even if you're listening and you're an IT member of a small organization thinking, oh, I'm too small, no one's going to come after me, just make sure you have multi-factor authentication enabled across all endpoints in your environment. And security can be sort of a thankless profession, right? If everything goes according to plan, nothing happens. So you don't actually have like a little cherry on top specific event that validates and verifies that you're doing your job well, right? So if you enable multi-factor authentication, nothing will happen. You won't get attacked, and you won't really get rewarded for success unless your company is very diligent and measures that type of metric. But I promise you, it's worth it to go up against your boss and really force them to get serious about multi-factor authentication. And say the worst case scenario happens. Say you're laying in bed at night wondering if you should fight your boss on this because you're worried about some sort of repercussion or retaliatory measure, right? Like maybe you'll get passed up for promotion, maybe you'll get fired. These are the thoughts that go through your head at night. Well, hey, if you do get passed up for promotion or you get fired while you're looking for your next job, you can say, I was passed up for promotion or I was fired because I fought my boss trying to enable multi-factor authentication. People are going to love that. It's going to take some framing. No one wants to hire someone who's always arguing and fighting, but it's definitely a good reason to get fired. And also, that's not going to happen. But just to recap, the UnitedHealth breach was kind of a tricky one because they ended up paying the ransom, but given that they used a ransomware as a service type model, the ransomware as a service provider never received that ransom, and the actor who performed the ransomware took the whole thing, right? So now the ransomware as a service is coming after UnitedHealthcare for some double extortion because they never got their money, so they're going to try to get their money from UnitedHealthcare. So this double extortion ended up in the data being leaked anyways, despite their ransom payment, and the breach has cost UnitedHealth $872 million so far. Formal breach notifications haven't even gone out yet. Those are going out in July, if you're wondering why you haven't been notified of your data being leaked. So you can expect that notification a little later, but it's never too late to sign up for credit monitoring. You can actually go onto the credit bureaus and freeze your credit. So even if attackers have your social security number and all your personal identifiable information, they can't open up new lines of credit in your name. And it's really easy to do. You can check out our Instagram for more information on how to do that, but I promise you it's really easy. It took me about 15 minutes to do all 3 credit bureaus. And all I'll have to do is log in and click a button when I need to apply for credit, like when I'm buying a new house or opening up a new credit card. It's going to be very easy, and this way you're safe. You can also sign up for identity protection or dark web monitoring, etc., but make sure to only do so with reputable sources.
This has been the Daily Decrypt. If you found your key to unlocking the digital domain, show your support with a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It truly helps us stand at the frontier of cyber news. Don't forget to connect on Instagram or catch our episodes on YouTube. Until next time, keep your data safe and your curiosity alive.